Hello guys and welcome back to SRL here on the channel. Today we are ready for another installment of the LMP2 Endurance series, and we have to apologize for the last race in this series. Unfortunately there's no live stream for that since we had some internet issues with the stream, so we decided to take it down. But hopefully this time there will be no problems. And today we are here at Long Beach for 1.2 hours, and we have a pretty big field today, but we are going to go through that once we get started, so I'm going to come back as soon as practice starts. So here we are at Long Beach, a real classic track in terms of endurance racing, and we actually have a new driver today racing in this league. He's making his debut, and his name is Remy Buitenkamp. He is from the Netherlands, and he's going to be racing in the 84 orange car, as you can see on your screens right now. And then of course we have your standard drivers such as Dion Stahl, Vasilios Belestiotis, Lance Lebron, Nick van Gelder, Sandro Dulis, Jure Marusic also joining us today, Rob Small, and finally Reese March. So 9 drivers on the grid today, which actually means for the first time in this series there's going to be someone who goes away from this race without any points. In case you don't know, we are running the old style of FIA point system, so first place gets 10, then second place gets 8 points, and then third 6 points, fourth gets 5, fifth gets 4, sixth gets 3 points, seventh gets 2 points, and eighth gets 1 point. Since we are 9 drivers today, one of them is going to walk away from this race without any points, and as we can see there in the background, Vasilios Belestiotis spinning his car coming into the penultimate corner. And I think today's race is just about going to be, it's going to be all about just keeping it out of the wall pretty much. If you can complete the race without any damage, I think you're going to be quite far up the field once the race closes to an end. But there's going to be a lot of drivers to look out for today, and it's going to be interesting to see who can take victory today. Remy, we don't know much about this driver, so it will be interesting to see where he falls in terms of pace and overall skill compared to the other drivers who are far more established within SRL league racing. But we currently have a championship that is kind of still open. In case you are following closely, this is the penultimate race of this series, and we do have some drivers who still could win the championship. It is not 100% over yet. It is a fight, it seems like, between the 2 Greek drivers of SRL, with Vasilios and Sandro being the main protagonists of the championship. Sandro is currently trailing Vasilios, but it's not by many points. But Vasilios has been very, very consistent throughout this series, as he's on screen right now. But he has been very consistent. He has picked up, I think it is 3 out of 4 possible victories. The only race he hasn't won was the last race that we took part in, which was Laguna Seca, and that was a race where he did not finish, but he did score some points. I think he scored 1 point, or maybe 2 points, I can't remember. But crucially, it was Sandro who took victory in that race, so the championship is still open to some degree. It would require Sandro to outscore Vasilios for the last 2 races, however. And I don't think there is any more drivers who could take victory in this championship, but we will see about that. But as I said, penultimate race. Vasilios is on 34 points, Sandro on 27. Reese is also not that far behind, he's on 21 points. But that would mean that, of course, Vasilios cannot get above 40 points without Reese scoring any points, otherwise Reese is out of the equation. Sandro is only lacking a mere 7 points behind, or no, 8 points, sorry, his fellow Greek driver. So there is a battle sparking here, so that will be interesting to see, as we are starting to get our first timed laps. So the benchmark is Reese March, who has posted a 1:13.8. He is closely followed by Rob Small, who's only 6/10 off. And I actually had the pleasure of driving this track just before this race, just to test out how this track is, because it is a very, very iconic track, so I kind of want to have something to give to you guys. And on this game is very, very, what should we say, it's full of bumps. Of course it is a street track, but it is also a very difficult track with tall curbs, especially in Sector 1, with the roundabout obviously, and the corner following, having very high curbs. And drivers will have to be careful not to take too much curb, otherwise there is a risk of flipping the car, rolling the car, or even flying across the fountain that sits in the middle of the roundabout. You can just take a look here as we come into the roundabout actually. Very tight section, and this corner is where drivers need to be very careful not to take too much curb, otherwise the car is going to get sent into the air. Apart from that, there is obviously the walls being super close to the track, and with a very uneven track surface, there is the risk of hitting a bump, very, very unfortunately, and bouncing into the barrier. And of course braking markers hanging up in the guardrail, so you will have to not look towards the ground as you would on a permanent track, where the brake markers would be sitting on the track side on the ground, but instead you have to look for them at the guardrails. So it is a different challenge, and I believe it is the first street circuit and the only street circuit that is gonna feature in this championship. So that's gonna be very interesting. Sandro out on track, warming his tires, as you can see. And he will be looking to see if he can challenge Vasilios, who is currently the fastest driver out there. He has a gap of 1 second to his teammate Reese. So let's see what Sandro can do. We're gonna stick the camera onto him for this whole lap, which I believe is his fast lap. And he's gonna start now. So let's see what he can do. So coming into turn 1. Some drivers here running onto the pit exit, which you can do. You can run into the pit and exit lane through the fountain section. Very, very good. It's not going to be the fast lap because he is not maximizing, it seems. And someone has gone into the wall. I think that was Jura Marusic. in the Racing Team Netherlands car. Sandro very, very smooth, hasn't shown any signs of losing the car yet. And across the curb very, very safely there. I think this is just a banker lap. 1 minute and 30 seconds left of practice before we go into qualifying, into the final sector. And into the final corner, which is the slowest corner on the track. You can almost call it a hairpin, and up towards the line. What is it going to be? It's not going to be a fast lap, I think. It is going to be... I don't think it's a timed lap. Has he invalidated? He must have invalidated somewhere along his lap, which is very easy on this track. Oh, he grazes the wall there slightly. Runs very hot into the fountain section, or the roundabout section. I don't know what you want to call it. And he is closely followed by Lance, I believe that is. Behind him. No, that is... and Nick van Gelder instead, I believe. Yeah, it is. Oh, and Sandro hits the tire barrier there, and Nick does run into the back of Sandro. Sandro loses his rear wing. There must be some damage to both cars there. It is practice, so it doesn't really mean anything. And let's take a look at our new driver, Remy. He's in P4 currently. 1.7 seconds off. Practice is now completed. Drivers can complete their laps. We're going to stick it on to Dion, who I think is on a fast lap. It'll be interesting to see where he can line up. He missed the last race, didn't take part in that. And Sandro is going to leave practice without a lap time. Oh, and Dion runs into the wall there. Practice is complete. The thing is, you will also, I believe, receive a penalty if you graze the wall too hard. Dion understeers into the wall there. We come around to have our final couple of times posted. He stays P3. Lance coming across the line as the next car. And that is it. Practice is over. So let's run through the order of practice and look at the tendencies for the qualifying session. So Vasilios with the fastest lap, he is 1 second clear of his teammate Reese, who is 5/10 in front of Dion. Then it is newcomer Remy, who leads Lance and Rob and Lance. Then follows Nick, Jure, and Sandro Dooley is the only driver not to set a lap time in practice. So we are off to qualifying, and I'll come back as soon as that is underway. So here we are for qualifying, and it looks like the two high-class racing drivers are looking very feisty. They're going out for a quick lap, it seems. This pit exit is quite strange. You cannot cross into the track before that yellow line that you saw finishes, so you have to go very deep into turn 1 when you exit the pit lane. But both high-class racing cars out on track fairly quickly to try and be the first guys out on track. I can see Remy and Jure have also exited the pits, and Lance has now also joined them out on track. And if we take a look at the likes of Lance, he is currently sitting P5 in the standings. He is only... I think that, yeah, he's only 3 points behind Rob, who is on 17 points in P4. So Lance will be hoping that he can outscore Rob in this session. And Nick is also sitting 3 points behind Rob on the same points tally as Lance. So those two have been very, very strong. And of course Lance and Nick driving both for Jackie Chan DC Racing, the Chinese outfit. Now we have everyone except Rob out on track. Oh, there has been something going on here. So we have lost P1. I believe that was Remy, quite possibly, who has disconnected. I don't know if he's disconnected or what has happened here. But P1 is gone right now. I'm just gonna check that. Don't know what's wrong there. We will see later on if he rejoins what has happened. But we move on. I don't know if it's a glitch or something, but we will see. He's back now, it seems. P1 is back. But now we're missing P2. It seems like Remy has disconnected and whatever, or maybe he's just disappeared. I don't know. That is a little bit strange, to be honest. As you can see, P3 is now disappeared. But it seems like the position that Remy is in does not appear on the timing tables. I'm just gonna real quick have a look on timings. It does not appear on the timings table, so I don't know why. Jura has misjudged his braking point there. But we move on. Reese is currently on pole position, followed by Jura, but that lap time is for sure going to get smashed at some point. Lance is in the box, as Nick goes fastest at 1:15.4. And now P4 is missing. I don't know what's happened to Remy. It seems like, I don't know if he's still in and we just can't see him. And that of course is a bit of a problem. Now P5 is missing. We will see what happens. But as of right now we can't see Remy, so that's unfortunate. Yeah. So we just can't see him. I don't know if he's still in the lobby for the other drivers. If the other drivers can see him, but we can't see him. So that's how it is. Basilio's now putting down the pace. He's put in at 1:10.9 as we spoke. So that is the lap time currently to beat, and that is a really fast lap time actually. It's the fastest we've seen all day. Oh, but he spins coming out of the first sector. Dion right now 2.4 seconds behind Vasilios. It's going to be interesting. And it seems like Sandro has a penalty. He has one grid position for some reason. I don't know why he has. Must be because of his track limits, or maybe crossing into the track too early when exiting the pits. that could give you a penalty of that sort. Oh, someone's gone straight there. Who was that? Was that Dion? I think it was Dion who went straight on. Might be wrong. Dion is now 1.5 seconds behind. Sandro needs to grab, well, pretty much the highest position that he can get in this qualifying session, as he will be starting one place behind that. If he could get pole position, that would be the best scenario for him, starting right behind whoever is going to qualify on pole. But we're going to follow Sandro. A 1:10.9 is the time to beat. Let's see what he can do. We're actually going to jump on board with him. As he comes up towards the line, seemed like a very clean lap. What's it gonna be for Sandro? P3. 2.1 seconds behind Vasilios. Not a bad lap time. I don't think he knows that he can cross over into the pit exit to take more of a softer angle into turn 1. Because we have seen the likes of Rob and Vasilios do that, and it does gain you a lot of time in terms of, well, opening up the corner for entry. It does give you a lot more opportunity to keep a higher speed going into the corner. Okay, so we have news on Remy. It seems like he has been disqualified from the qualifying session. I did not receive any news on that. I might have missed that. I'm just gonna get news on whether he is still in the lobby. But as of right now, he has been disqualified, so that is why we're not seeing him on the timetables, which does explain quite a lot, to be fair. Qualifying is now over. Sandro Dulis is not going to have time to get another lap in, so it's going to be P4 at max for him right now. We're going to follow Vasilios. Can he improve on his lap? Graces the wall there. Okay, so Remy is still in the session. We just can't see him because he got disqualified. So he will be in the race. But Vasilios, oh, he runs into the wall there. That's not good. We're going to follow Reese, who's right in front of him. Is he on an improvement of a lap? If he can pip Sandro, Sandro is going to have to start P5. So what is it going to be for Reese? It's not going to be an improvement, but he is going to start P3 as of right now. Lance is on a cooldown lap. It's... oh, sorry, Rob. Lance does not look like he is on a fast lap. Nick has stopped. And what about Jura Marusic? I don't know if he's on a fast lap. He might be the only one left. But that is qualifying for you guys. So... sorry. It is Vasilios once again on pole position. This time it is Dion Stahl who's going to follow him. Sandro Dulis is in P3, but he's going to drop down to 4th, meaning that Rees is going to move up into P3 because of Sandro's grip penalty. Then it is Rob Small in P5, Lance LeBron in P6, Nick van Gelder in P7, P8 is Jurma Rusic, and P9 it is Remy, who got disqualified for some reason. As you can see, he does not have a lap time there. But let's move into the race. So here we go. It is the penultimate race of the SRL URL Prototype Endurance Championship. And it is a real nice race that we have brewing here. It seems like it's going to be a really, really, really exciting race. Vasilios, who is your points leader in the standings, sits on pole position, but he still has 1.5 hour, or pretty much 1.2 hours of work to do before he can say that he is happy. If he does score points today and gaps Sandro with more than 10 points, he is going to become your champion. Oh, sorry, 11 points. And that would mean, let's see, he is on 34. I'm just going to calculate that. It is a little bit funny. Let's see. Does mean if he scores 4 points more than Sandro today, that means he's going to be the champion of this racing series. So 4 points or more to Sandro Dulis is what Vasilios needs to do in order to seal the championship today. Rees March can technically still win the championship, but he does need to outscore Vasilios quite significantly, or just finish on par with him as he is. No, he needs to score 4 points, 4 points or more than Vasilios in order to still have a chance of finishing in P1 in the standings after the race day. Sandro, he basically just needs to finish either in front of Vasilios or within 4 points of him today, and then there is still a mathematical chance for him to steal the championship from Vasilios in the last race, which is obviously Road America. But they're on their formation lap. Vasilios leading the pack, followed by Dion. Then we have Rees, Sandro, Rob, Lance, Nick, Jure, and then Remy rounding out the grid for today's race. But all eyes is going to be on Vasilios. He did not have a great start last race, spinning on lap 1 into turn 3 on Laguna Seca because he came under threat from Rob Small. Today it is not Rob who's behind him, it is Dion. But the perks of being the driver in the second position is that you can fall a little bit back, get on the power a lot earlier, have the overspeed coming across the line, as the driver out in front is limited by a speed limiter, whilst the drivers behind just are limited by the driver in front. They cannot overtake, but they can exceed the 60 kilometers an hour, which I believe is the speed limit for P1. But they come around into the final sector. This is quite exciting. It's really exciting. Around the final corner onto the start-finish straight, we have 1.2 hours ahead of us of Long Beach. And it is go! There we go. Vasilios with a great start there. Dion Stahl follows him. Oh, there's already contact in behind there. It was Rob Small who ran into the back of Rees March. But out in front, I still believe it is Vasilios who retains the lead. But he is closely followed by Dion Stahl. Sandro has made a perfect start. He's up into P3. He's overtaken both. He's overtaken Rees, yeah. Now he's looking at the back of his teammate. There's been a bit of a shuffle down there. Nick has spun it. Remy is up into P8. Jure is in P7. He is closely following. Oh, they spin! No. Jura and Rob Small gets spun around. I think that was Remy who ran into the back of Jura, who ran into the back of Rob. There is a lot of chaos on this first lap. Sandra has gone down to P5, so there has been some contact there, I think. Lance is up into P4, Reese up into P3. Oh no! And Sandro misjudges as a braking point, running into the back of Lance. Now Remy overtakes Sandro. Sandro has not done anything to make his chances of retaining a championship hope easy today. But out in front it is Vasilios, who's already stroked a 3-second gap to Dion. Both of them have gone away from the kerfuffle that happened. Remy has a penalty now. Let's see how much that is on. It's 2-second time penalty for Remy. I believe that was for the contact. Oh, and there is some problems there. Lance jumping up into the air. Remy respawns to the track. That is actually not allowed. I think that's going to be a penalty for Remy in post-race. But we will see. But damage to that car, that's for sure. Look at how it swerves, and he cannot carry any speed into any corners. Reese is on the back of Dion, it seems. And this is just what high-class racing need. Vasilios leading out in front by 4.5 seconds, and Reese in P3, currently hunting down Dion. This is all that the Danish outfit could have hoped for. Meanwhile, in P4, Lance is getting hunted down by his teammate, Nick van Gelder, for Jackie Chan DC. Meanwhile, Remy in P6, he's going to have to come in this lap. I would believe that damage looks to be too great on the car. No, he continues. No, he dives into the pits there. And has he retired? I think he's retired from this race. So we're down to 8 drivers. Remy not having the best of debuts here at Laguna Seca, Long Beach. What a tragic ending to his day. But that means we're down to 8 drivers now. All of them are going to score points. But as of right now, Vasilios is the champion. Sandro currently sitting in P7. That's only going to give him 2 points. Meanwhile, Vasilios out in front. He's on 10 points now, so that is a oh, but he claps the barrier there. Oh dear, is the pressure getting to the Greek driver? Hopefully not. But he is leading by 6.5 seconds as of right now. Reese has got up to the back of Dion, so there could be a race going on here very shortly. And could we see a high-class racing 1-2 for today? That would be very interesting. And so it seems like it was a decision by Remy himself to retire from the race. He did not get disqualified. Oh, but Vasilios has made a mistake there. He's down to 1.4 seconds of gap. He must have hit the wall somewhere along the race. Oh my goodness. This is not what he needs. This is the pressure getting to Vasilios. He knows he's in the lead of the championship, and he knows what to do. But can he do it? Meanwhile, Reese looks at the back of Dion. He's going for the overtake. He's on the outside. That's maybe not the place you want to be coming into the next corner. But they sort it out like friends here. Very, very fair driving between the two. Coming into the final hairpin. And Reese for sure is going to have a run on Dion. We're going to stay on board with these two as they fight away. Reese looks like he's going to have the pace for today. He can't seem to pick up the slipstream from Dion. That Konica Minolta car is very fast in a straight line. But he does seem to have some edge on Dion in the snaily section, so in the twisty bits. But a very, very, well, what should we say, Reese is really showing good pace here, and he goes for an overtake. Again, he's going for the outside though, not the preferred line, but can he cut back under Dion? And what about here? He's going for an overtake. This corner is probably not a place where I want to go for an overtake. Oh, very touch and go there, but Reese gets the move done nonetheless. And now is up into P2. And the question is now, can he maybe hunt down his teammate to take his maiden victory in this racing series? He's going to have to let go of Dion. Oh, but he goes very deep into the corner. He comes into the pits. No, it doesn't. It was just a trick there. But he's cleared Dion now. So very, very, very interesting there. Meanwhile, Sandro is currently sitting quite far behind Lance. The gap to Lance is 43 seconds. So not the day that Sandro Doolis would have hoped for. Reese has spun it. Oh dear, coming into the roundabout section, and he's going to have to be careful now. Neek goes up into P3. The pressure got to Reese there. But he seems to have escaped without damage. Oh, there's a spinner there. Was that Sandro? I think it was. I think Sandro has just spun it coming out of the roundabout section. I don't know what's going on. And it looks... yeah, it was Sandro, so his day is not going as he has planned. This championship is very much running away from him right now. Oh, there's a spinner down there. Who was that? Was that Rob? I think it was, because there's some damage to that car right there. Fortunately, and not the day that Rob had hoped for as well. But this is great news for the likes of Lance and Neek. Lance currently in the pits, serving a pit stop. Don't know if it's because of damage or what it is, but Neek up into P3 right now, and this is what he needs to get his well, march underway up towards the top of the standings. Meanwhile, Reese spins it again coming into the roundabout. That curb is very, very tall, meaning that if you do get up on it and apply throttle a little too hard, you are going to spin. The gap out in front is 11 seconds from Vasilios to Dion. So currently the Greek driver is strolling away with the victory. As of right now, he does also sit on the fastest lap, I believe. Yeah, at 1:12.8. So he is on the fastest lap as well, which is going to grant him another extra point, giving him 11 points as of right now. But he still needs to complete this race. Barely 1 hour left. As you can see, very, very good car control from Vasilios. Very, very good driver. Sandro into the pits. Rob is exiting the pits right now, but he's a lap down on Sandro. So that says something. Now we can take a good look at how to exit the pits. That long yellow stripe, you have to clear that before you can turn out of the pits. Meanwhile, there's not really much racing going on right now. Gap is up to 13.5 seconds barely. Meanwhile, Neek 6.5 seconds behind his fellow countryman in P2, which is Dion. Now Jura has got himself a time penalty of 10 seconds. And meanwhile, he is heading back to the pits with a car that looks, well, anything... Oh, he's in the pits right now. It looks like he's going to have to serve a very long pit stop. Could be joy for Lance LeBron, who's in P6 right now. Who has 20... Well, the timings are a bit whack right now. So it's about... I don't even know how long He has until he's, well, I would imagine once he comes around, he is going to overtake Euro. Meanwhile, Nick in P3, 5.5 seconds up to Dion, maintains the gap slightly. Dion is up to 7 seconds of gap to Vasilios. Does he overtake Euro? Yes, he does. So Lance up into P5 right now. This is really good news for Jackie Chan DC Racing. Meanwhile, Reese March is 19 seconds-ish behind Nick. So very he has some work to do, but he is closing him down, it seems. And this is going to be interesting. Euro coming out of the pits. They sorted out without any trouble. So no problems there. Oh, has respun it. No, but he's coming into the pits now. Don't know if there's any damage or something there. And Reese now has a penalty, 10 seconds as well. Oh dear. So has he violated some track limits? It would seem. Lance now is gonna overtake Reese. No, he isn't. Just had to check if Lance was gonna overtake Reese, but he wasn't. It's when he comes around next time. The gap is now up to 1 minute and 12 seconds for Dion up to Vasilios. And it is looking... no, it is... no, it's down to 10 seconds. There was a glitch in the timings there, it seems. I'm not really sure what happened there. But right now, Vasilios is catching up to the back of Sandro. So, this could be very interesting. Is Sandro going to play it a little bit dirty now? Which I wouldn't imagine he's doing that, but his championship's hopes are on the line, so he could hold up Vasilios a little bit, and maybe that could allow Dion to catch up. It wouldn't make a whole lot of difference, as Vasilios is flashing his lights at Sandro. But Sandro, of course, he's not within that gap right now where you would think that it's going to be annoying for Vasilios, only that he can see Sandro, obviously. But he is closing him down. So, we're coming into the twisty bits now. Gap is 1 minute. It's a little bit touch and go with the timings, it seems. Still not, Sandro's not yielding away. He's going to stay on the racing line, it seems. Gap is 11.5 seconds. And I think at this point now, Vasilios is going to be a little bit furious with Sandro. But the gap is still increasing between Dion and Vasilios. Ooh. It's a little bit of a moment there for Sandro. He is not moving out of the way so easily. Vasilios is going to have to do the dirty work himself. Gap has now stayed. What is this? Sandro is fighting him. Oh dear. Ooh. What is this? I would imagine he would have to let Vasilios go once they come around here to a straight. He lets him go there. But it did have an impact on Vasilios' gap to Dion, though. He's gone from 12 seconds. Well, it's pretty much stayed the same, but he was increasing his gap. So that is a little bit iffy, you would say. Oh, and Rob has spun it again, hit the wall, and he's lost his front bumper. He's coming into the pits again. It's really not been his day today. I think we can say it that way. And he is now coming in for his second stop, I believe, of today's race. And he must be furious. He's been practicing and doing really good lap times. He's been posting the fastest laps so far in practice sessions that he has hosted throughout the week. And his race has just not gone as he wanted it to. And Jura gets going again. Now Rob is down into P8 and the last points paying position, also being the last position. Meanwhile, there's a little bit of a deep run there from Nick. Jura gets out of the way. Must have been a little bit distracted there. Reese is currently sitting, I think, 20-ish seconds behind Nick at this point. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Oh, he's sitting 1 minute and 20 seconds behind. A little bit difficult to tell. Oh, and there's another penalty here. And it is a... oh my... Jura has 50 seconds of penalty. It's nearly a whole minute of penalties that he needs to account for. Oh dear. So how he's managed that it must have been track limits that has played into that, for sure. But not really that much happening right now. The race is at a stalemate, and I don't think we're gonna expect any... The sky is very much clear, looking on board with Vasilios, so we're not expecting any rain for this race. So it is just, right now is a bit of a sit-rep, bit of a stalemate at this point of the race. Not really much happening. But hopefully soon there will be something. I believe the closest gap on track right now is Nick and Dion, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it is. It is Nick and Dion's gap between those two is the closest we have out on track right now of 8 seconds. Oh, but Dion runs a little bit deep there. Is that going to help Nick once he comes into the final corner? Oh, but he also runs very deep there. The gap grows. The gap grows. I'm gonna see if we can find Lance LeBron. If this camera could work, it would be nice. 18 seconds behind Reese. And Sandra makes a pit stop. Don't know if that is because of damage or it could be. It looks like that car is pulling to one side. Quite hefty. We can actually check that real quick. No, I don't think it is because of... Oh, he's missed his pit box. Oh no. I think he's not really going the way Sandra wants today. But maybe just mandatory pit stop. Just to recap on fuel and maybe also some damage repairs. We don't know. Gap is now up to 33 seconds. And in terms of pit stop, you can't tell, obviously. It's a little bit annoying. I think we can't, at least. No, we can't. Oh, there's someone that spun there. Was that Lance? Maybe it was. Don't know. Could it have been Nick? It wasn't Nick, it was Lance who spun. Yeah. Lost the car on the exit there. Maybe running a little too hot over the curb there. You never know. But I don't think we have Vasilios and Dion in. Oh, and there's body parts on the track there. That looks like... Yep. It is the orange bumper of Jure Marusic's Racing Team Netherlands prototype car. He's now racing around without a front bumper. He's just not had a good day today as well. Sandro has just exited the pits, and he is very close to Rob actually. So maybe there's a little bit of a battle that's going to form here shortly. We will see. Hopefully there will be. Oh! Oh dear, oh dear. Sandro has lost his front bumper. Yeah. This race has just gone straight into the bin for Sandro Dooley's. I wonder if he's gonna retire from this race. Could imagine. But yeah, not a good day for Sandro. And he has retired from the race. I'll see if I can get him into the call here. We can maybe have him over the commentary box. And Sandro Dooley has been invited. We'll see if he joins. Understandable if he doesn't join, because it's been a bit of a nightmare for him today, unfortunately. But yeah, the racing goes on, obviously. So we will see what happens. Meanwhile, gap is now 20 seconds between first and second. It doesn't look like there's going to be much of a contest for this victory as of right now. Oh, someone has spun, I think. Sounds like... Oh, and Vasilios has spun, and that was Rob Small who spun the car. Now Vasilios has spun it, and this could mean trouble for Vasilios if he doesn't get it going fast enough. Where is Dion? Okay, he's still behind. That is the thing about this track. You need to keep it in a straight line. Otherwise, the barrier is there to catch you. So I'll try again to invite Sandro to see if he joins. Let's see if he joins, but I would imagine that he probably isn't. No. Meanwhile, gap is now 15 seconds after Vasilios' little detour in one of the corners, but he's still growing, and he is looking more and more like a champion out there. Nick, meanwhile, is 5 seconds now behind Dion, or just around 6 seconds. So he has been maintaining that gap pretty well, and it does put pressure on Dion not to make mistakes throughout this race, for sure. Meanwhile, Reese, after his early spin in the race, is 1 minute and 26 seconds behind Nick. So he is doing his part of the job for high-class racing, scoring some good points. Lance is obviously also doing his work as good as he can. He's doing a really good job, I think. He has managed to, well, pull himself back after a little bit of a kerfuffle on lap 1. There's some small mistakes every now and then. But overall, I think it's been a good race from his side. Euro is once again running around without front bumper. Or has he just not pit yet? He hasn't, I would believe, but he still has that 50 seconds of penalty. Meanwhile, Rob Small running in dead last. So not really much happening for him as well. We're gonna take a look at Nick. I think Nick might have had a bit of a spun. And Sandro has said that he is not going to join commentary, unfortunately, but it is understandable. He is quite annoyed with himself, I would assume right now, and just about this whole race. And it is understandable. He is still watching, I would imagine, so it is unfortunate. It is very unfortunate. Neek gracing the wall there. He has lost some time. I don't know if he's had a spin, but the gap is now 13 seconds to Dion, so he might have had a spin because it was down to, it was 6 seconds before. So yeah, not really much happening right now. Of course, safety cars are not something that exists on this game, unfortunately. So incidents and stuff like that will have to go with just double yellow flags or standard yellow flags. No safety cars, quite unfortunately, because it does bunch up the gap at the pack as well, as we saw in the Spanish Grand Prix at Formula 1, which obviously, yeah, we saw some safety cars. There were also some other races, I believe it was, but yeah. And yeah, some suspension damage was the thing that cost Sandro Dooley's his race today, unfortunately. And yeah, not really much to say about that, unfortunately. But there's always another time, I suppose. We are going to return with this racing series next season, obviously. It has been a bit touch and go with this racing series. There has been some trouble, but the biggest problem obviously hitting last race where the stream for some reason closed down. But it is very stable now, and we are happy to announce that we are going to continue with this racing series. Also talking about racing series, tune in for Formula 1 the first week of April. I believe it is the 4th of April that we are going to have the Belgian Grand Prix, so that's going to be really interesting. And following the Belgian Grand Prix, obviously we're going to have the season finale of this racing series at Road America. But in terms of the championship right now, it doesn't really matter, since Vasilios, if he keeps this position, he is going to be crowned champion after this race. But after this series has finished, which it does in April, we are happy to announce that we have a new racing series coming along. The SRL URL. URL has once again partnered up with SRL, as we have done with this series. And we're going to create a GT series, so GT3 cars. And it's going to be called the SRL URL Intercontinental GT Challenge, and it's basically going to be GT3 cars where we race around some of the best tracks. That is going to follow, and we have someone who lost connection there. I don't know who that was. That was Rob. I don't know if he disconnected or... Oh, and Jurma Rusic has also now left. I don't Did they disconnect or did they just retire? That is the question. But 2 drivers less now. That means we're going to have the top 5 only completing the race. We still have 3/4 of an hour left. But yeah, as I was saying, GT Intercontinental Challenge gonna take place here on the channel again, partnering with the Underground Racing League, and it's gonna be on Project Cars. It's gonna be really good. I'm gonna be racing, and Sandro Dulis, who is well, the league owner, obviously, he is gonna take my position, which I've been filling in this series, and he's gonna do commentary. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to hearing him guide you through our GT series. But stay tuned for more info. We will have more information coming for the next round of this series, which is going to be the final one, and we're going to introduce you to the format and the way we are going to run the GT series. But yeah, so that's going to be very interesting. Meanwhile, Vasilios strolling away with victory out in front. It's looking more and more like a championship today. And he just I think at this point, well, P5 is going to grant him, where is he? He's going to grant him 4 points. Sandro is going to come away with a single point, which is not enough to take the championship, but it would mean that Vasilios had to fall to P5, which I think is very unlikely at this point. But never say never, we still have 42 minutes to go of this race. It is quite a tough feat to complete this race, as it is a street track, obviously. Street tracks always being very, very demanding in terms of focus and physique, with the many turns and small changes. But as of right now, there is no way for Sandro to unfortunately get this championship. Reese, however, can still technically and mathematically take the fight to Vasilios, but it would mean that he had to... Oh, I need to be careful now. Let's see, it would mean that Vasilios has to be disqualified from this race, meaning that he will finish, if not one dead last outside the points, then at least in P8, which only grants him 1 point. And apart from that, Reese also still has to then take, let me see, he still has to take 4 points in order to mathematically be within the shot of a championship here. So the numbers are stacked against Reese and Sandro, and obviously Vasilios has everything in his favor right now. But we're never going to say never. We did that for, what was that? That was Watkins Glen. We said never say never. And we saw how that went. It went chaotically, the last dying moments of the race. Mainly because of rain and the night sky showing its presence. But apart from that, it is a long race. It's long race distances. And if there are any questions regarding SRL in general, this racing series, other racing series, or yeah, just in general, then feel free to ask in the live chat. I'd be happy to try and answer as best as I can. But currently the drivers are very spread out across the track. The closest gap that we actually have is the gap between Dion and Nick, which is 10 seconds. So tells you how spread out this race is. So, but there could be things coming. But it is the quiet stage of the race right now. And actually, maybe we should try and get Rob or Yura into this call. I'll try and do that. So Yura is currently the only one that we can get in, as he is still online. We'll see if he joins. Would be interesting. Yeah, slowly closing race. We barely have half an hour left of this race. 38 minutes left, obviously. But yeah. So not really much happening. We started with 9 drivers, we're down to 5 drivers now, meaning that we do have lost 4 drivers in the process, and that is of course Remy, Yura, Rob and Sandro. And Vasilios now comes into the pits. I believe this is his first stop, could possibly be, and hopefully there's not too much damage in terms of his hopes to try and get out in front, but pit stops are usually quite lengthy in this game, but he takes a very slow approach to it, very calmly, doesn't need to throw anything away. Here comes Dion. I don't know if he has pitted yet, but he moves up into P1. Vasilios will be hoping that he is not stuck in the pit too long. Nick also moves past Vasilios, so there is some work to do for Vasilios once he comes out of the pits. Some damage fixing. Obviously, it's a long race. The car is going to get damaged over the course of the race, and it'll be interesting to see how long he is stuck in the pits. Still in the box as of right now. Reese is now coming down the start-finish straight. Blast past his teammate. But he is a lap down. I forgot. He is a lap down on his teammate. That is quite a lengthy pit stop for Vasilios. Did he get some damage before he boxed? I really don't know. Hopefully he's not stuck in the pits. Here comes Dion. Laps Vasilios now. Oh dear. Has there just been a change in terms of the finishing order? There has. So both Nick and Dion have lapped Vasilios at this point. That was quite a long pit stop for Vasilios. Has he... I don't know if he's just lost the lead. 35 minutes left. Oh dear. And... ooh, this could be interesting. Dion is now 1.5 laps ahead of Vasilios, who's just exited the pits. Nick is also 1.5 laps-ish ahead. Reese is now coming into turn 1. He's not that far behind. Oh my. And at the moment, the good thing is that Vasilios doesn't have any penalties that he needs to serve. Interesting fact is, does Dion and Nick have to box again for the last... well, we can actually just check. Okay, Dion has to box. What about Nick? He also has to box. That this is interesting. It has changed the order a little bit. And Vasilios needs to stay out of trouble for the last part of the race. What about Reese? He could... maybe he can't potentially go to the end. I don't know. Maybe he will need a quick splash and dash. Lance needs another splash and dash. So Vasilios is the one and only driver who could, and looks like he's going to be the only one who's going to go to the end from here. Everyone else, with the exception of Reese, possibly could or will have to make another pit stop. So this is interesting. It's very interesting. Dion now, he's gonna have to run as long as he can. He's gonna have to stretch everything out of his car. Meanwhile, Vasilios, he is 1 minute and 19 seconds behind Nick, who's a further 56. No, he's only 12 seconds behind. Or is he? No, there's a bit of a glitch in these timings. He's 5 seconds behind Dion. So we could have a race on our hands shortly. Gap is now down to 1.18 seconds. Unique from Vasilios. This is interesting. The gap is closing to Dion from Nick. Is there some trouble with the Dutch driver out in front? Oh dear. Or is the tyres just starting to give away at this point? I think everyone is on the lead lap right now. No, they aren't. That's my mistake. Dion takes another lap. What about Nick? He takes another lap as well. Gap is now down to 1.17 seconds. So he is closing slowly, Vasilios, but not with the rapid speed that he had earlier. Nick, meanwhile, only has a 3 second, barely 4 seconds. He also has gained some time on Dion. Ooh, this could be interesting. Ooh, a little bit of a tank slapper coming out of that corner there for Nick. Oh my. He's almost reaching into the 3 seconds. There we go, 3.9 seen for the first time by Nick. This is a live feed, obviously, displaying the gaps as they currently are, so 4.3 is probably the most realistic that we're going to get, because they were both almost straight. But it's just about there. 3.8 now, dipping down into... Oh dear. What about Nick? Does he come in now? He doesn't, he takes another lap. And they now are on 12 liters of fuel. Meanwhile, Vasilios, the gap is 1.15. It's coming down slowly, but not... maybe not fast enough. Oh, no! Nick has lost his rear wing. Oh no. Nick has spun and lost his rear wing. This is not good for Nick. Oh my. It was going so well for Nick. He was closing down on Dion. Looking very, very good for a P2 here. And now it looks like it's gonna all be thrown away. That's not good. I tell you. He taps the inside wall there. Oh my. Not good. And he definitely has to stay in the pits for some time. Question is if Reese March can now profit from this as Dion heads into the pits. This is going to be interesting. How much damage does Dion have to the car? Because it looks very, very sleek. Oh no. And was that Vasilios who came through? It was Vasilios who came through. So Vasilios is going to regain the lead here. There he goes. Swoops around. No, he's still one lap behind. I forgot. So Dion is going to have to last pit stop here. And hope that there is no significant damage. Meanwhile, Vasilios is on a race against Dion's pit crew. Nick heads into the pits. He is out of the equation. Fuel is done. How much damage is on that Konica Minolta? That is the question. Oh, he gets going! Oh my... So Vasilios still has a half a lap to complete. Meanwhile, Dion is exiting the pits. Where is Vasilios? He's on the back stretch right now. He still has 3 corners to navigate. And Dion is officially back on track now. Question is, he does have enough fuel. So Dion has taken the actual lead of the Grand Prix. And he does not have any penalties to account for. So Dion, at the moment, is your leader, and he is leading by 13 seconds right now. Oi, 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 what a turn of events. And is it just me, or are those clouds looking very gloomy at this point? Oh, look at that. Sky is very dark in the horizon. Could we also have a splash of rain in this race? Gap is 15.3 seconds now. This has just been one of those races yet again where things have not gone as we expected. Vasilios is closing Dion down rapidly, but how rapidly can he close him down? And is the rain going to come in time? Oh, Nick is back on track again as well. And he is actually very close. He's only 10 seconds in front of Reese. So this could be a very interesting Grand Prix. And has Vasilios spun it? Or was there no, there was a wrong timing there. Oh my. And it's looking very gloomy now. We have 26 minutes left of this Grand Prix. Oh my days. Is this going to be another one of those Grand Prix where nothing goes according to plan to the people who need to have the race going according to plan? It's still going to gift... It's still going to be a championship for Vasilios, but look at those skies. We'll take a ride on board. Look at the sky! Oh my... Could there be water in those skies? Those are clouds. Dion is down to 12.6 seconds now. So he is catching him. Dion is making mistakes into the final hairpin. Meanwhile, I think everyone is on the lead lap right now. They are. Everyone is on the same lap right now. So right now there is no room for mistakes from anyone. Otherwise it could be position losses left, right and center. There is... Gap is down to 10 seconds now. 10.5 seconds now. Could this be a real thriller towards the end of this Grand Prix? Reese right now. Does he need another pit stop? Or could the rain save him, possibly, if it comes? Oh, look at those skies. Those clouds are very, very dark grey. We're going to take a ride on board with Dion here. It is very gloomy. There is still some sunshine though in the final sector. Apart from that, looks like there is quite a lot of rain. Meanwhile, Lance comes into the pits. Gap is down to 8.1, just around 9 seconds now between Vasilios and Dion. This is interesting. This is very interesting. seems like he is losing most of his time through Sector 1, so this part of the track, which is also a very twisty part of the track. Meanwhile, Nick in P3, he has 17 seconds worth of gap down to Reese Match, who I would imagine is trying to stretch his fuel. 7 seconds now between Dion and Vasilios. He's coming down by around 1 second per lap. That's not good news for Dion. Oh, but look at the sky. It's so dark. I'm kind of hoping for rain to just get a little bit more chaos in this race. You can just about see him now, Vasilios. You can just about see Dion in front of him. Seems like is there someone who spun? Don't think there was. Dion is taking the cautious approach. 5.5 seconds now. Oh dear. Will be interesting to see how this turns out. Nick has spun! Oh no! No! Oh wait! Oh no! Nick tried to enter the pits at the same time as Reese. I think both of them have spun. And now Nick has significant damage. Oh my goodness, as if this race could not get any more chaotic. P3 is still up for the grabs for the last 3 drivers. Lance could also grab P3 here. Meanwhile, Dion is now starting to feel, I would imagine, the breath of Vasilios down his neck. We have 21 minutes left, barely. Oh, but Vasilios spins it. It is not going to send him into the wall, but it is going to cost him time. Gap is now opened up yet again. How big is it? That is what we need to see. We can still see him. Maybe Dion also spun. I don't know if he has lost some time as well through that section. But it is coming closer and closer, this battle. 3 seconds now. Ooh, very close there. Vasilios, ooh, very slidey. What about Lance now? 2 drivers in the pits are still stationary. Lance needs to gain another lap on them. Meanwhile, out in front of 2.5 now. Where is Vasilios? There he is. They are super close now, these two. And with 20 minutes to go, we have a battle for the lead on our hands. Oh my. Neek is now moving, so is Reese, I think. Yep, so Lance did not manage to close them down, but he is significantly closer. 1.3 seconds now, the gap. It will be interesting to see how Vasilios plans on getting around Dion when he catches him. There is a battle now. Officially by the game, there is a battle now for the lead. And can Dion take the pressure? And what is going to happen? Is this going to end in glory or calamity for Vasilios? He is going to hope for glory, obviously. But maybe Dion is hoping for a calamity on behalf of his teammates. Oh, they're running super close, and now Vasilios is bump drafting Dion style. Across the line they go side by side. Vasilios on the inside, but he's going to have the outside for the turn 1. What is Dion going to do? Is he going to stick his nose in there? Of course he is. Ooh. Vasilios takes the lead into turn 1. But can Dion now stick with him, or is Vasilios just too fast? And again we have a battle for P3 now. And is this the end for Reese? Lance has moved up into P3. Nick is into the pits. Reese, where's he? He is strolling down. Has he got... Oh dear, has he run out of fuel? No, he hasn't. What has happened here? Nick has boxed. Lance is up into P3 as he clatters into the wall. What is going on in the battle for P3? Nick is coming out of the pits now. Seems like Reese is waiting for him. I think he might be. I don't know why. Was there some unsportsmanlike behavior from Reese that occurred there? Or what is happening? I don't know, but Lance is up into P3 as we head into night time. 17 minutes or 18 minutes left. The race is still on out in front. Vasilios cannot afford any mistakes at this point. Meanwhile, Lance down the down the front stretch. Reese and Nick. Nick is missing his rear wing. It's not been the day that he is up for, but he is going to come away with P5 at minimum for today's race. And it is night time now. Vasilios not using his headlights, neither is Dion. Lance is on full beam in terms of headlights. We're just going to jump on board, I think. The skies are still very gloomy. Nick boxes yet again. Oh my. It's not been the day that he had hoped for. Vasilios is leading 4 seconds now. Crosses the start-finish line. Quarter of an hour barely left. How much fuel do each car have? 46.8 litres, 35.2 litres, 44.7, 61.5 and 41.1 litres. So there should be enough fuel here for each and everyone to complete the race. I was just wondering if it looked like there was a spin going on there. What about Reese? What is happening here? He's going to stroll around now. Look at this beautiful car in the night. If we're gonna get rain, I don't know at this point. It could be not, could also not be. I have no idea at this point. One thing that I do know, however, is that it's been a good race. It's been a really good race. We have lost quite a few drivers. Nearly half the grid retired throughout the race, and it does mean that we also have a championship decision coming to a close at this race if it continues like this. But I'm not going to jinx it. We are going to have to watch the Grand Prix until it finishes. Nick again without a rear wing, and yeah, not really what he wants as well. Wonder if he's going to retire at some point. He's going to come into the pits once again, strap on a new rear bumper. Meanwhile, 7 seconds of gap from Vasilios, and Lance is on the podium. Really good drive from him as well. Not sure he expected it after his qualifying. Qualifying one of the last drivers to start the race. Reese also, it's a good result. I think we should be fair to say that. It is a good result. Bringing, I don't know if the Teams Championship is also going to get decided today. It is. So, as it stands right now, High Class Racing is going to be your Constructors Champion of the LMP2 Endurance Championship. and Vasilios is going to be a driver's champion as it stands right now. But also a good haul of points for high-class racing. And there is a possibility, I'm not sure, but I think Jackie Chan DC Racing is going to close in on Konica Minolta in the Constructors. And as of right now, Dion is going to jump Nick in the standings, I believe. I'm not sure. Maybe he is. And Jura Marusic also going to get some points to his name for today's race. Rob Small getting some points. Sandro is going to stay in second. Or maybe, no, he's not. He is going to move down to P3, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe. Don't quote me. But Dion, now he is 12 seconds behind. So, race is pretty much over at this point. I think we have 12 minutes left. Oh, Lance with a little bit of a late break move there. Nick is out on track yet again after his little pit stop. And we are going to see if we can get all of these 5 drivers into an interview after this race. And because it's been a really good race. Nick is going to box yet again. I wonder, is this a definitive box? Oh, collapse into the wall there. Is this going to be an end to his day? He has been doing fairly well. Oh, I wonder, has he missed his pit box there? Maybe not, I don't know. Oh, he has. He's missed his pit box. Or is he serving a drive-through? Strange. He went straight through the pits. He is coming out. I think that's just behind. That's just behind Vasilios on track. Oh, and Lance has lost his rear wing now. So the battle for P3 is not over yet. He continues onwards, and no, he doesn't need boxes for a new rear bumper. I think that's going to promote Reese up into P3. I still don't know why Neek took a trip through the pit lane. No idea. Gap is now 12.6 seconds between Vasilios and Dion as we head into the last 11 minutes of this race. And who is that right behind? That is Neek behind Dion. Lance now getting a new rear wing. And here comes Reese. Wonder, is he a lap down? Nope, he overtakes Lance. Up into P3 for Reese. So still a reason to race at this moment. What about Neek? He still has to close another lap on Lance before he can move up into P4. It seems like Dion has had a moment because the gap has now grown from 11 to barely 16 seconds. Lance is now moving again, so it is P4 and P5 for Jackie Chan DC Racing at the moment as he comes out of the pits. Oh, and there Neek has lost his right side headlight. Wonder if there's some damage to that suspension arm on the side. It looks like they've been, because he is very twitchy. Maybe it's another pit stop for the Dutchman. Who knows? Ooh, a little bit deep there from Reese. And we're into the last 10 minutes. So I would imagine just about, I would say 8 laps until we're done. I could be wrong. So far we have completed Well, Vasilios and Dion have completed 52 laps. Reese is on 49 laps. And Lance is on 48, Nick is on 46. So maybe another 8 laps, taking us to 60 laps. Could be maybe another 6 laps, possibly. Don't know. But everything has been running very smoothly from Vasilios' side of the garage. I wouldn't say Reese hasn't had a good race as well, because he really does. He has had a really strong race. There's another podium finish in this series for him. So he's proving very capable of driving these cars. He's really good here. Dion as well. We haven't seen much of him. And that is quite unfortunate, because he's a really good driver. Lance has also had his time to shine in SRL. He usually does commentary, obviously, for Formula 1, so he's not the guy that you see the most of. And Nick, he's not been strong in this championship like he was in Formula 1 last season, obviously taking the championship in that series. But he has displayed good skill. But coming back to Lance, not the driver that you see the most of as he does commentary. And it doesn't mean you hear a lot of him in the Formula 1 series, but you will be seeing more of him as he is gonna, I think, race in the GT series. But that's... ooh, gets a little bit airborne there, running the curbs very, very aggressively. And he now has half a minute up to Reese. Meanwhile, 24 seconds now between Dion and Vasilios. So it is pretty much championship done at this point. We have... oh, I say that, he does spin it now. He needs to keep it going. Oh no, that's the wrong way, Vasilios. Oh dear. Is that a pit stop for Vasilios coming his way? Who knows? Dion is in the roundabout, so he's only 17 seconds. Is that another pit stop coming the way to Vasilios? I don't think so, it was a light tap. And now we will see, we'll stick on board with Vasilios. As you can hear, fans are cheering for the races. It is nighttime officially now. And you know what? Let's take a lap with Vasilios of Long Beach. Oh no, there's trouble for Vasilios. He's clapped the inside wall coming into the roundabout section. Is pressure getting to him now? And is there damage? Oh dear. Not the best time to decide to clap into the wall there, Vasilios, when you're on camera. But yeah, pretty much the only thing he's really had that could be interpreted as major throughout this race. Oh, I say that. That looks like trouble for Vasilios, and he has to watch out now for cars coming his way. Oh, we could still have a race. Who is that? That is not Dion. That is Vasilios' teammate. I think. Yeah, it is. It is Reese March, luckily for Vasilios. But mistakes are starting to creep in. He doesn't need the victory, but for sure it would be nice to get one. Taking the championship on a victory. Nick into the pits again. And he will be hoping not to make any more mistakes now. But We have 4 minutes left of this race, and it's been a very enjoyable time. 56 laps. I think we could squeeze in 2 extra laps, possibly. Maybe we're gonna get to 60. Who knows? But oh, that's not Dion. Gap is still 14 seconds. But Vasilios can't afford any more mistakes. Oh, kissing the wall there. He is. And Reese now. Is he getting hunted down by... No, I thought it was Lance, but it wasn't. It was Nick. Very similar car. So obviously... Ooh, Nick runs very deep there. Oh, he's starting to weave a bit. Vasilios, the championship is not decided yet, mate. Ooh, quite a hefty impact there, gracing the wall. He is starting to make mistakes. Some mistakes that he should avoid to make. He will just be hoping that he's not smashed it into the wall at some point. Oh, it looks very twitchy, the car. Let's try and go on board with him, see how the control is. Very... well... Anyway, in that corner was very smooth. See, coming into this corner. Seems like it is very smooth. The steering input from Vasilios. So, nothing major there in terms of that. Gap is growing to 18.5 seconds now, so yeah. But listen to the sweet sound of that Cadillac. Sounds really nice. And you know what? Let's take a lap of Long Beach with Reese instead. Oh no, trouble for Reese. Was there contact between him and Neek there? That is a little bit difficult to tell, but it seems like every time we are going on board with someone, they slap it into the wall. We are on lap 58. Or maybe we're... No, I think we're on lap 59. So we are going to get 60 laps here, it seems. As Vasilios comes across the line, less than a minute to go, and unless he slaps it into the wall very, very hard and retires, he's going to win the championship. So, and 38 seconds. Oh, there was some trouble with Delta again. 24 seconds gap down to Dion, who has been caught, it seems. Oh no, maybe that... yeah, there was a mistake, possibly. Yeah, there was. Nick is into the pits yet again. Lance... oh, he gets a little bit wayward as we cut to him. But it's all good. And I can see now Vasilios has lost his rear wing, actually. And time has run out. So once he crosses the line, he's going to not only win the Long Beach Endurance Grand Prix, but he's also going to take the LMP2 Endurance Championship, Drivers' Championship. Wow. He comes across the line. Vasilios Ballistiotis is your Season 1 LMP2 Drivers' Champion. And I believe with this finishing order, we still need to be sure. Ooh. This is Reese behind, but he is laps down. But Dion comes across the line to take a very well-deserved P2. Reese takes P3 at Long Beach. Is he gonna... Yeah. As is seen as tradition, when race is over, you smack each other off. But I think with this finishing order, it does mean that High Class Racing is your LMP2 Constructors Champion as well. Lance has spun it. Nick is also just coming around the final corner. And they are doing donuts, I think. Camera can't seem to find them. They are doing donuts down there. Here comes Lance across. He doesn't manage. Oh, he does. Lance manages to cross the line just about. And even with the 10-second time penalty, Reese still finishes P3, which does give High Class Racing the Constructors Championship. But we're going to try and get all 3 drivers into, or all 5 drivers, sorry, into this call. So we'll see if we can do that. So now they have been invited. We're going to try and see if we can get some interviews. Hopefully we can. Most likely there is going to be some interviews. But we're just sitting and waiting for the others. Mr. Nick van Gelder.
Hi, Sam.
And we also have Vasilios. I'm going to come to you in a minute. Reese has also joined, so everyone is joining now. So that's nice. Yep. But coming to you first, Nick, you finished last in this race of the finishing drivers. P5. You seem to have some trouble with keeping out of the wall, should we say it that way?
Yeah, you couldn't say it that way. The beginning of the race was actually pretty good. I think I didn't make any mistakes for the first 30 minutes or something. I was pretty comfortable in 3rd place, but I think it all started when I made my first stop, or just before that. I picked up some damage. But actually where the real issues started was at the pit exit. I kept crossing over the line and I kept picking up drive-through penalties. I think I got 4 or 5 because I kept running over the pit line and I kept forgetting and I kept getting it wrong. So I probably had to do more drive-throughs than pit stops in the end. But also, yeah, towards the end everything just fell apart. And it completely ruined my race, but it was completely my fault. And so yeah, I didn't deserve to be anywhere higher than last because I was just stupid towards the end of the race. I just kept forgetting the pit exit, so yeah, it's a little bit confusing where the line just extends.
Okay. Alright.
In 3rd place for a majority of the race, but you know, it is what it is.
I need to say to all the others who are in here, you need to have your options so that we can actually hear you. This is interviews, so it doesn't make much.
Yeah, I do have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same for me.
Coming to you then, Reese. P3, another podium in this series. Are you happy?
Yeah, it was alright. I feel kind of bad for Foxo because he kind of deserved it, and also thanks to Nick, who I completely lost the podium for, basically. Waiting for him, but he kept getting drive-throughs, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a good race, not gonna lie, but congratulations to Vasilios and Dion, and everyone really, who did well.
Yeah. Thank you.
I will say though, Reese, for the first time in your SRL career, you have now been part of a championship-winning team because High Class Racing has actually taken the Constructors' Championship.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
So, Konica Minolta, they are still in 2nd, but they can't catch you anymore. I don't know how many points you actually have, but it is very close to 100 points. Coming to you now, Dion, P2, I guess it was good from your point of view, but from the team's point of view, and especially your teammates' point of view, it was a bit of a shit race, to say it like it is.
Well, yeah. I was doing great. I haven't made a mistake, I think, and if I did, it wasn't that major that I lost some time. And well, I was in the during halfway in the race. I was in the lead after Vasilios pitted, so I took some lead laps, which I'm happy with. But then, yeah, Vasilios was clearly faster. He passed me, and eventually I finished second. And unfortunately, I don't know what actually happened to Sandro, but I think he got damaged at the first lap with touching the wall because he had some brake issues. As he broke it the same points as normal, but yeah.
He did say in the live chat that he did have some issues with the brakes going long, meaning that he had to extend his braking zone, and pretty much that was his day done. But still, from your point of view, you're happy with your race. You finished P2. Is that pretty much maximum, do you think, or could it have been a victory?
Well, it was the best result of the season for me, so I'm happy with that. But when you only look at qualifying, I was second, which I'm pretty happy with. And then I saw Vasilios, who was still 2 seconds faster than me. So yeah, it was clearly out of reach for me. But yeah, this is feeling for me as a victory, as I was pretty much in front of number 3, although Reese waited for Nick, but still, it was a big day for me.
Okay, and Vasilios, victory number, I believe it's number 4 in this series out of 5 possible. Is that true? I think it is, but regardless, a strong drive from you today. Pole position, fastest lap, race victory is a Grand Slam, I think that's what you call it in racing. And with that, the Drivers' Championship as well.
Really?
Sandro, you had
that.
to, because you were sitting on 34 points before the race, Sandro on 27. The maximum amount of points that a driver can get through a race is 11 points by taking victory and fastest lap. You are now more than 11 points ahead of him after his retirement. He scored 1 point, you took 11 points. So that means you extend your gap by 10 points. So you are the Drivers' Championship. So I have to say congratulations to you.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Really
congratulations.
appreciate it. Thanks a
And
lot.
I guess, I mean, it was a pretty straightforward race. You didn't really have much apart from when we went on board with you and you clapped into the wall at the roundabout. Pretty much the only time we went on board with you and you decided to smash it into the wall. So that's nice.
Yeah. I also lost my rear ring at the last lap.
Yeah, we saw that. Yeah. But apart from that, like, it was a pretty dominant race, I think you could say.
Thanks.
And with one race left, which is Road America, all of you 4, you looking forward to it?
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
It's a great
Yeah,
track.
of course.
And,
But what happened to the input 4 of Le Mans?
well, Le Mans is towards the end, and it is a standalone race, obviously.
Oh, okay. So it's not part of this championship. I thought it was.
No, it isn't, unfortunately. It's only a 6-race championship, but with the championship obviously coming to a closing stage next time that we race on Project Cars, we also have a new series starting up, the Intercontinental GT Challenger. All of you 4, you're going to take part, and are you looking forward to it? And
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And,
I think it's always nice to have like a different racing series than usual. Of course, we're all very familiar with F1, but something different, just like this IMSA series, but also the GT3 Continental or Intercontinental series is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it, definitely.
And what about the tracks? If we just run through them, it is, of course... well, I'm just going to pull up the schedule here, because we do have it. We just haven't officially announced who is going to be driving at what race, but Mount Panorama Bathurst is going to be the first race, 1.2
cool.
hours. Spa is also in there. The longest race in that series is 2.4 hours, and that is Spa. Then we have Suzuka, which is 1 hour. Indy Road Course, 1 hour. And the last race of the championship, 1.2 hours of Solda. A track that we haven't raced on ever in
Yeah.
SRL. The same with Bathurst. How are you guys looking? Do you think it's a good calendar, and any other tracks you would have hoped to maybe have seen up on the schedule?
Yeah, it's a great calendar in my opinion.
It's a great selection of tracks. Yeah.
And finally, a sort of home track for me, as I nearly live to Zolder, so that's always nice.
So, with the unfortunate cancellation of some of the races, we are going to continue, obviously. But Vasilios, drivers' champion, with one race to go. There isn't really that much to say apart from that, because the series has pretty much closed off one race early, with the drivers' and constructors' championship being decided so early. But a dominant season from both Vasilios, but also High Class, along with Reese. So congratulations to all of you.
Thanks.
And
Congratulations.
what about next race, Nick? There's still something to fight for in terms of constructors and drivers standings for you.
Okay.
Obviously, Konica Minolta, they aren't secure, I think, in P2, and obviously you can still move up and down in the championship. Road America, something that you guys have practiced before?
Yeah, a little bit, because I thought it was a few rounds ago. Yeah.
And who do you think is gonna take victory at Road America then? Just a pop quiz.
Vasilios. If it takes part.
Okay.
I'm gonna say.
It will
I'm
be
gonna
an
go for something
interesting race,
different.
of course.
I'm gonna say Lance.
Okay. Lance. Wow.
But by the way, to come back on which tracks I would have liked to seen added in the GT3 Intercontinental Championship, I was thinking about maybe Algarve, Portimao.
The Portuguese track, or
the Portuguese track. Yeah. I think that's pretty nice, and also maybe. Well, I was thinking about Barcelona, but maybe that's a little bit. We're all familiar with that because we use it in F1. So.
Yeah, that's what
that
is what we are trying to do with this series, to visit new tracks, obviously.
Yeah, and, maybe Portugal then.
It's not out of the question. Obviously, this LMP2 series, it was supposed to be an IMSA series, but it kind of fell apart with the dual car type. So next year, I can confirm, we still have one race to go, obviously, but next year, next season, it is not going to only be American tracks. We are going to visit European and Asian tracks as well.
Yeah, that's really nice,
And possibly visit new countries as well, as we do have Brno, which is obviously in the Czech Republic,
Czech Republic,
and Algarve, or however you say it, in Portugal. And so the next time we're going to see prototypes is, of course, Road America. That is most likely going to be in 3 weeks, I think. Because in 2 weeks we have the Belgium Grand Prix coming up on Formula 1, and obviously everyone here, apart from Vasilios, going to take part in that, hopefully. And then obviously Vasilios not being a part of the Formula 1 Championship anymore.
Okay.
And then, Road America as the season finale in this series. And then after that, the next time we're going to see prototype cars is going to be the 2.4 hours of Le Mans, which is going to be the season finale for SRL.
Yeah, so, and part of the Triple Crown as well. It's also interesting.
That is true, and with, of course, yourself, Dion, myself, and I don't know if Sandro maybe also... No, Vasilios.
Yeah.
Having some race victories in Triple Crowns, it will be interesting to see who can get their second Triple Crown victory. Or if we're going to have another member in the one race victory club.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's pretty much all.
Essentially, I got the same thing twice, as I won the Monaco Grand Prix and the Championship. But unfortunately, it doesn't count as two.
That's true. And Indy 500 also coming up at the end of the year. So, and Vasilios, that's the only one you have, isn't it?
No, I just have. I only have. I also have the Indy 500 thing.
But which one
and the Monaco GP win. I'm only missing the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Okay. So Vasilios is actually on 2 race victories out of 3, so we need to do everything
Wait,
to
Vasilios
avoid.
won the Indy 500 last year.
Yes.
He won it in his
okay.
debut race for
Yeah.
SRL.
Oh yeah, I missed it. I
Yeah.
didn't participate there, so
That's true.
I wasn't aware of it.
But that's pretty much all for this live stream. I think there's not much more to say. Congratulations to Vasilios, and congratulations to both Vasilios and Reese for closing the constructors for high class as well.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
we're gonna see you in 2 weeks in at Spa Francorchamps for the Belgium Grand Prix. So see you guys.